So I'm like this, and then I'm like, and I have a second to react, and I go Tokyo Drift. So my brother and I had planned to surprise my parents for their very first car. Yeah, I had picked him up, and we were in like my apartment, and we were so excited about the fact that we were going to surprise our parents that we couldn't sleep.
One, again, in college. I was in Connecticut at the time, and my friends and I went out for a night out in New York City, New Year's Eve.
Cool. Must have been fun.
Yeah, and we didn't have a place to stay, so the plan was always to take the train back and drive back home.
Okay.
But we were going to drive at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. So I practically slept 2 hours, if anything, that night. And I was going to drive like 5 hours straight to Virginia to get the car. It's winter, it's cold, so we're bundled up, barely sleep. We go to McDonald's, grab some food, grab some drinks. And then on the way there, it's really cold, so we're blasting the heat inside. Warm, it's cozy. That's flag number one. Don't never do that.
I leave around 2 a.m. Oh my God, those were the days where I actually stayed out that late. Last night I was out until 11, and that was late for me. I was almost dead, and my whole next day was off sync, but I'm caught up now. 2-hour train ride. I had sobered up by that point. I stopped drinking actually at midnight after the cheers and making out with the bartender. Actually, that was a lot of fun.
Okay. We'll save the home for next time.
My brother decides that because it's so cozy and because he also didn't sleep, it would be great for him to take off his seatbelt from the passenger seat and sleep a little. So he puts his seat back, and then he takes off his seatbelt, and he's just like, all right, I'm gonna go to sleep. And I was dozing off for a couple minutes, but I was like, nope, I can do it. I've always pushed through anything, and I can just do it.
I stopped drinking and started drinking water, sobered up because I knew how to drive. So I was sober. That was great. Problem is, super tired. And, arrive at 4 a.m. I have now a 2-hour drive home from the train station. And halfway through, I actually fell asleep behind the wheel.
My eyes doze off. And on the highway, there's 3 lanes. And my car was on the far left near the cement that's in the middle, right? And in the seconds that I dozed off, my eyes, or my car starts slowly going like this. And I was going at like 60 miles per hour. Luckily, I fell asleep like with my hands on the wheel. So, and I feel like God must have been like, wake up now, because the moment I opened my eyes, the car was seconds or whatever from touching the cement.
Because it was 5 a.m., there were like no cars. But also because there were no cars and my phone at that point had died, it took forever to find someone to call 911. Because I didn't know what else to do.
Well, were you badly hurt in the...
Oh God, no, I didn't get hurt at all.
Okay.
My car got totaled though.
Okay.
So I'm like this, and then I'm like, and I have a second to react, and I go Tokyo Drift. And literally, so my car was at the right angle because the cement had a little curve. So the wheel on the front left goes up and flips. So my car never, because you would think when you do this, the car would go, no. My car went above the cement, like kind of like curved it and went and flipped.
It ruined the battery, the engine, like the whole front was smashed. But everything, like from the middle of the front onward, untouched. But it was a V6 engine, which for me was expensive, and it took more to repair it than the car was worth. So
So you had to let it go.
yeah, so that, just the fact I got in an accident, the car saved me, I think, because it was like a beast.
Around first, my brother was like, slow-mo, and I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. And then I'm like, okay. And then the trucks are all lined up in a line, and you never see that in a highway. All the cars are lined up, and I'm like, fuck. So I do another Tokyo Drift. So again, my car goes from here now to here, and I'm in the middle lane now, and then I'm like, okay, now I have to get to the other area, you know, to stop.
Yeah.
So then I slowly go, okay, and then pause.
Second time was more recent. I was in Texas. And it just so happened that I'm in Texas in the first time in like 20 or 30 years that they had a really bad snowstorm.
I remember.
On the day I was supposed to be leaving Texas, the train's shut down. My flight is still on. So no other way to get to the airport except Uber.
And as soon as my car, kid you not, like stops, here I see my peripheral, it's like whoosh, 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 whoosh. And I'm just still like.
What did your brother say?
My brother immediately kicks in like, fuck, we have a rental. Never mind that we're alive. No. I'd rather be dead if the rental was fucked, because we have no money. Okay, we barely had any money for the new car. We don't have, and we're very smart. We don't get insurance on a rental.
Scam.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that people in Texas were not used to winter conditions. I'm from Connecticut, so I know how to drive in like snow and ice. So it doesn't even like faze me, like, oh yeah, sure, people are driving. Well, I find out the hard way that they're not used to driving in this weather.
So my brother immediately opens the door, and he's like, oh, I gotta check the car, So I'm still like, can't take off my hands because I'm like traumatized right now. So he goes around, and then he comes back laughing. And I'm like, he's like, you're not gonna believe it. There's not even one scratch.
Oh my God.
Not even one.
So when you're supposed to slow down, you're supposed to ease off the acceleration and just kind of like phase yourself out. We know that, but this guy didn't. So when he put the brakes on to slow down, we started sliding, and then just did a total spin out all across like 5 lanes on this highway. We stopped right in that lane where the car was coming head on. And I wasn't even scared. I was just like, well, shit. This is how I go, huh?
Oh, he didn't know how to drive.
Oh.
Useless. I had to drive still, so I had to still get it through. So I had 5 seconds to get through my trauma and then go past it. and my hands were like this. I was like, I don't know why my hands are doing this. Like, I'm fine.
Well, the car had barely enough space to brake, and they would have hit us, but they went a little off the road.
Okay.
So, that was only 10 minutes in. We still had 40 minutes to go. White knuckled the rest of the way, silent, like, oh my God. And then guess what? I got to the airport and then my flight canceled.
Oh.
Obviously.
How much more did you have to drive?
Oh, that was literally at the beginning of New York. So I had a long way to go. It wasn't even that. So we had to still go at least 4 hours. But I drove. Like, I reset my mind. I was like,
Well,
and we got the car, and we got lucky. We got approval of the loan. So happy